Yes, sir.
In the CrO5, if you really calculate the oxidation state, it appears to be equal to X implies X is equal to 10. The calculated oxidation number of chromium in CrO5 is 10, which is 4 units more than maximum allowed oxidation state of chromium. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Therefore, it has 4 oxygens involved in peroxy bond. They are linked to chromium like this. One oxygen is linked by a double bond. So, in CrO5, which has a butterfly-like structure, there are actually 5 CrO bonds. Can we see it really? Hello? You don't bother about pi bond. Generally, if they ask number of bonds, they are specifying sigma bonds. If they want pi bond, they will ask specifically how many sigma and how many pi. If they ask sigma, number of sigma and pi bonds, you can say 5 sigma bonds, 1 is pi bonds. Okay. Now, have you seen how to
oxidation by this, sir?
Excuse me?
Oxidation by this.
Oxidation by this means what? Its oxidation state is plus 6 only, because that is maximum allowed state is plus 6. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
1 minute.
Are we clean on this?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Now let us examine, sir. If I am taking a little bit more complicated. Suppose I have something like benzene. Okay. Benzene has how many sigma electrons? Let us consider only sigma bonds. C6H6. It has only one ring. And if it has only one ring, it has total number of atoms 12. It has 12 sigma bonds. Sir, if it is having no ring, suppose it is C4H10, open chain of formula CnH2n plus 2. If it is open chain, number of atoms is equal to 40, sigma bonds is equal to number of atoms minus 1.
Sir, this benzene not a...
First you start. If a molecule has an open chain structure, number of sigma bonds is equal to number of atoms minus 1. In, for example, you have any molecule, anything you can take, PCl5. How many atoms it has? 6. How many sigma bonds it has?
5.
You take anything, C5H10. Sigma bonds is equal to. Always in an open chain, number of sigma bonds is number of atoms minus 1. If it has one ring like benzene, sigma bonds is equal to number of atoms is equal to 12 in benzene. Suppose I have a structure like this. Now let me write a structure. Okay. Cyclooctatetraene. How many sigma bonds it has?
Sir,
how many hydrogens it has, sir? Whenever a carbon is making 3 bonds, it should have an extra hydrogen. Can you see it? Because carbon is always tetravalent. Can we see it really? We can very quickly see it is C8H8. It has 16 atoms. Yes, sir? And number of sigma bonds is equal to how much? Number of sigma bonds is equal to 16. Because in a structure with one ring, number of sigma bonds is equal to number of atoms. Yes or no?
yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I am having a structure like this, it has two rings. If it has two rings, sigma bonds is equal to number of atoms plus 1. So, what is its formula, sir? Obviously, you can think that these carbons have one hydrogen each. This carbon which is making 4 bonds has no hydrogens, no hydrogens. So, what is the formula of this molecule called naphthalene, which is used as a moth repellent, which is kept in toilets, in metro stations and all? Its formula is C10H8. Can you see? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can see. We can
Because
see.
it has 2 rings, number of bonds is equal to number of atoms plus 1. How many sigma bonds? Oh. And obviously, you can see it has 5 bonds if you want 5 bonds, otherwise don't worry. Are we very clear on this idea? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? If it has 3 rings, number of sigma bonds is equal to number of atoms plus 2. If the structure has 4 rings,
And
number of
plus
sigma bonds is equal to number of atoms plus 3. Have you seen the pattern? No ring, number of atoms minus 1. 1 ring, number of atoms. 2 rings, number of atoms plus 1. 3 rings, number of atoms plus 2, so on. An exercise question. P4 is found to have 6 pp bonds. How many rings it has?
2 rings.
2 rings, sir.
I don't know, you missed it. The number of sigma bonds is equal to number of atoms plus 2 is equal to 6. Have you noticed? Because its number of sigma bonds are 2 units more, it should have 3 rings. Yes or no?
yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
This is the structure of P4. How many rings it has?
3
Hello?
rings. 3 rings.
Yes. SC8 is found to have 8 bonds. How many rings it
1
has?
ring.
1 ring.
That's it. Okay? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Homework. Try to find out the number of rings in camphor molecule.
Yes.
What is the structure of camphor molecule? You have to investigate. I am not having time to worry about that. Earlier, in my earlier lectures, I told you what is camphor. Now, this is a question I have seen next. This molecule, can you name this molecule, ladies and gentlemen? Can you name this molecule, please?
Sir, ethane methanoate. So, sir, ethane ethanoate. Ethane ethanoate.
Ethyl
So, sir, ethyl ethanoate.
ethanoate.
So, sir, ester.
What type of compound it is?
Ester.
It is a pleasant smelling ester. Now, the type of bonds it has: ionic, covalent, hydrogen bonds, dipole-dipole. Second option, dipole-dipole, hydrogen bonds, and London forces. Third option, ionic, covalent, London. Fourth option, only London forces. What type of bonds the liquid ethyl acetate has at room temperature? That's the question. Number 2. Whenever any compound has hydrogen locked to fluorine or oxygen or nitrogen, then only the H plus delta is sufficiently charged so that it can give rise to hydrogen bonding. To have hydrogen bonding, essential requirement is the molecule should have a hydrogen locked either to fluorine or to oxygen or to nitrogen. If it is not there, then the H plus delta charge is not enough to be called it as hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond is a kind of attraction between partially positively charged hydrogen of one area or one molecule to partially negatively charged other atom of fluorine or oxygen or nitrogen of other molecule. Only when hydrogen is locked to these three atoms, any one oxygen, fluorine, nitrogen, then only there is a question of hydrogen bonding. Does it have that type of hydrogen locked to any of
No,
these?
sir.
Hello?
No, sir.
Therefore,
So it cannot have hydrogen bonds. Notice the oxygen being more electronegative than carbon can have a little minus charge. Carbon can have a little plus charge because it has two opposite poles, positive pole, negative pole, due to slight charge separation. It is called a dipole. Di means two pole means positive and negative pole. This molecule has a dipole, so the C plus delta of this molecule and O minus delta of its neighboring molecule can fall in love. That weak attraction between two different molecules, positive negative poles, is called a dipole-dipole attraction. Definitely this molecule can have dipole-dipole attraction. Agreed or not?
Agreed, sir.
Yes.
Yes. And also, if you are looking at hydrogen, can hydrogen have a dipole, sir?
No, sir.
Can hydrogen have a dipole? So dipole-dipole attraction is impossible in hydrogen because both are identical atoms. Nobody is expected to get minus delta or plus delta. But here what happens, when these two nuclei are held by electron pair, as the electron cloud is fluctuating, moving, both electrons can go to one side. Therefore, it can have unequal distribution of electrons, sometimes momentarily in 1 millionth of a second. Due to this end may get a little positive charge. This end may have more intensity of negative charge. Agreed? It happens only in 1 billionth of a second. Again, it can come back. At that billionth second, its neighboring molecule can also have such electron flow. Then this minus the electron cloud and this nuclei, they can fall in momentary love. The situation can be reversed in 1 millionth of a second like this. The electron cloud is coming this side and here the electron cloud is coming. So earlier, these nuclei were attracted by these electrons. Now, this nuclei is attracted by these electrons. So, because the electrons keep on delocalizing. This momentary attractive force operating between neutral molecules, which have practically no dipole, but happening due to fluctuating electric field of electrons, is called a London force. The London force exists between any molecules because electrons keep on moving or delocalizing in any atom or molecule. So the London force will be operative only when the temperatures are very, very low. Therefore, it is possible to liquefy or even solidify hydrogen by just lowering the temperature. The London force really will be insignificant if the temperature is more or if the distance between the molecules increase. Notice when you are raising temperature, the thermal motion drifts the molecules away. As the distance between the molecules increase, the London force will die away. How the distance can influence this is discussed in your States of Matter chapter, first 4 pages. You look at them. Now, at the moment, I would like to point out in ethyl acetate or in ethyl ethanoate, the only forces operating are what, sir? What forces are operating?
Only London force.
London force.
Only London forces and dipole-dipole. It will have dipole-dipole also. Because we have shown, it has a dipole.
Okay.
It has a dipole-dipole attractions under London process. These two are there. Hydrogen bonding is not there, ionic bond is not there. Can we see it clearly, sir?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
Sir, extension to this side.
Sir, excuse
In
me,
a
sir.
HF. Yes.
Dipole moment confusion there, sir.
I want you to speak, keeping mic a little away. Tell what you want.
Sir, dipole moment
Dipole moment.
confusion there, sir. Explain.
I'm sorry, sir, I could not get you. Come again.
Sir, please give an idea on dipole moment again, sir.
Sir, in HCl, you have plus delta minus delta charge. So HCl has a dipole. Therefore, if you cool HCl, the force that operates between different HCl molecules in liquid is dipole-dipole attraction. Whenever two atoms differ in electronegativity, more electronegative halo can take a little minus delta, a little minus charge, because electron pair bonding will come a bit closer to it. Other fellow will get a little positive charge. The flow of electrons is shown by a vector like this. This dipole is measured in terms of dipole moment, which is the product of amount of charge separated, delta into bond length. The dipole moment has units like charge units into length units, Coulomb meters. So that is a different discussion, but basically a dipole is possible between molecules which have different atoms. Can I expect dipole in O2, N2, S8, P4? Means no, because all they are identical atoms. You can't have two opposite poles, right? It is possible in H2O, it is possible in HF, it is possible in similar molecules where atoms have different electronegativities. And also, in CO2, can I have a dipole?
Yes, sir. We
Each
can.
bond has a dipole. No doubt. But the net dipole moment is zero as bond moments are cancelling each other. Because this is a vector, equal vector operating in opposite directions linearly. So vector sum in this case is zero, net dipole moment is zero, though bond moment is there. In CCl4, there can be bond moment because C and Cl have different electronegativities, but overall they cancel each other. Symmetric molecules which are AB2 linear, AB3 trigonal planar,
AB4 tetrahedral,
AB4 tetrahedral,
AB5.
AB5 trigonal bipyramid,
Yes, sir.
AB6 octahedral, all they have zero net dipole moment. That's a different story. I'm not worried of that.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Sir, one doubt, sir.
we are going to third question.
One
sir.
doubt, sir. One doubt, sir. Sir,
Yes, please.
can we expect this London forces in oxygen molecules, sir?
Why not? Why not? Why not? All the London forces are operative when the distance between neutral molecules is very less because it is inversely proportional to sixth power of distance. You can see in the NCERT book.
Yes,
If the distance is increasing, it will die away. Okay.
yes.
Which chapter we are going through?
Whenever you are cooling a liquid, whenever you are cooling a gas, like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, only force that operates is London force.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sir, one more thing, sir. Sir, what is this
Yes.
dipole-induced dipole, sir? That also I saw in CRT textbook, sir.
Yeah. See, you have a friend. Basically, you are a studious guy, and your friend is really a bit happy type person, and that fellow has fallen in love with a beautiful girl, and you are moving with him every day. Therefore, you will be tempted to love another girl, which he suggests. Basically, you don't have time to fall in love with somebody, you want to mind your damn business. But because of your friend, you got temptation. It is called dipole-induced dipole. Because that fellow is loving one girl, to prove that you are a man, come on, you also started loving he is a friend's sister or his friend's friend, so on. Then that will be, of course, a happy thing. The problem comes if you also start loving the same girl, probably there can be a problem. Please don't do that. Okay. It's called dipole-induced dipole. If A has fallen in love with B, C has fallen in love with D, they are two different dipoles, there is no issue. But A is influencing C to fall in love with D, then that is dipole-induced dipole. You can see this in case, actually, when the CH2 double bond CH2 is being approached by HCl. H is having a plus delta and Cl minus delta. Due to this, the C double bond C, originally both are carbons. This carbon is not a villain. He is not interested to take away electrons. He is not interested to do this normally. But it will take away electrons because the beautiful girl with the plus charge is approaching it. The H plus delta and Cl minus delta is a dipole. This positive fellow is approaching. As this is approaching, this carbon gets a temptation. Let me loot the carbon and take away the pi electrons so that this fellow falls in a deep love with me. Let it divorce the Cl minus. That idea. A dipole, induced dipole. Because of this gets minus delta, it gets plus delta. This incidence, this moment appears as long as HCl is approaching. If you take away HCl, this temptation will also disappear. You understand? Hello?
Yes. Understood, sir.
Such momentary effect, dipole-induced dipole effects are seen. In organic chemistry, they are called electromeric effects. And you think they are not important, but really they can change the direction and dimension of life. A small incident can have paramount influence on our lives. One should be very careful. Control the temptation. Okay. So many people say so many things in the world at the end. So anyway, we are going to third question, sir. Sir, in hydrogen spectrum, wave number as per the Rydberg's equation is given by 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. Now, which is a wrong statement about this? For hydrogen, n1 is equal to 2. For hydrogen, n2 is equal to 3. For hydrogen, as lambda decreases, lines become closer from above. IE can be calculated. What are correct statements in 1, 2, 3, 4? All 1, 2, 3, 4 are correct. Only 1 and 3 are correct. Only 1, 2, 3 are correct. Only 2, 3, 4 are correct. So what is your answer for hydrogen? Balmer series. Question is very clear. In the Rydberg relation, mu bar is equal to RH into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by 2 square. For hydrogen Balmer series, what are correct statements in this? You know, when electron is going from 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to infinity, that is called Lyman series. If the electron is coming from 2 to 3, 2 to 4, 2 to 5, 2 to 6, 2 to 7, or anybody to 2, that's called Balmer series. If the electron is going from 3 to 4, 3 to 5, 3 to 6, so on, that is called Lyman-Balmer-Paulsen series. You know all that. So in Balmer series, the lowest energy level considered is only second level. So statement 1 is right. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
N2 value is 3. The statement is wrong because N2 can be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up to infinity. So 2 is wrong. For hydrogen, as wavelength is decreasing means energy is increasing. The electron is going from 2 to 3, 2 to 4, 2 to 5, 2 to 6, 2 to 7, 2 to 8. As the electron is going to higher level, corresponding energy is increasing, corresponding wavelength is dropping. As corresponding wavelength is dropping in the spectrum, you can see in the spectrum, the spectral lines become closer and closer and closer and closer. Ultimately, it will become a band. This is the hydrogen bomber series spectrum. This is called H-alpha line, talking about electron going from 2 to 3. This is H-beta line, talking about electron going from 2 to 4. It is H-gamma line, talking about electron going from 2 to 5. It is H-delta line, talking about electron going from 2 to 6. And this is the series limit, talking about electron going from 2 to infinity. As the energy is increasing, lines become closer and closer. It looks like a band in the hydrogen spectrum. So if I'm looking at this statement 1 is right, 2 is wrong, 3 is right. From above, ionization energy can be calculated. Can we calculate, sir? Sir, can we calculate?
No.
Ionization energy means normally in hydrogen electron resides in level 1. The energy required to take electron from 1 to infinity is called ionization energy, not from 2 to infinity. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So from Bomber series new bar values, you can't calculate IE. So statement 1 and 3 are right. Are we clear on this one, sir?
Third point, once again,
Hello?
sir. Third point.
What is the third point? Sir, electron is going from 1 to 2. It is first spectral line in Lyman series. Let us take Lyman series. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
The energy difference between this level 1 and 2 is 10.2 eV. Because you have a formula to calculate 13.6 by into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square will give you the energy difference. You put n1 as 1, n2 as 2 and calculate. Similarly, if you put the value n1 as 1 and n2 as 3, yes sir, you will be getting the energy corresponding to second line. As the energy is increasing, wavelength corresponding to the radiation causing the electron jump is decreasing. Wavelength is decreasing, the lines are becoming closer and closer and closer and closer. When you are removing the electron to infinity, that is called ionization energy. The radiation of that line which takes electron to infinity is called series limit. The energy corresponding electron taking from N1 to N2 is first spectral line in Lyman series. Because that energy causes a radiation, that radiation has a characteristic wavelength that causes first line in spectrum. If you are taking electron from 1 to 3, it has a little higher energy, therefore it has a little lower wavelength that causes second line in hydrogen spectrum Lyman series, N1 to N3. Similarly, the next line, third line is caused by electron, which is going from level 1 to
Level
4.
So level 4.
So that has still higher energy, still lower wavelength. As your wavelength of radiation is dropping, the energy corresponding is rising, electron is going to further levels. These lines, distance between these lines is dropping. And the last line, which corresponds to knocking out the electron to infinite distance, is called series limit. Can we see it really?
Yes, sir, we can see, sir.
Therefore, as the wavelength is dropping, the gap between the lines is also dropping and they are looking like a band. The last line is ionization energy corresponding. So that is a point they said. In any spectrum, as the wavelength of the radiation is dropping, the lines become closer and closer and closer. There is a fact. The lines are caused by radiations and the radiations are corresponding to electron transition. Radiation is emitted when electron falls from higher level to lower level. It is the spectrum caused by electron falling from higher level to lower level is called as emission spectrum.
Yes.
The spectrum caused by electron jumping from lower level to higher level is called absorption spectrum. Whatever the spectrum, you have similar lines for a given element. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Absorption spectral lines are dark, emission spectral lines are bright. That's the difference.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, we have no time to worry about that. That lesson has been taught to you in detail earlier. I think Arif sir has taken up that.
Yes.
You might have appreciated that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at one very interesting, very important model. It is very, very important. Almost in every IIT GMS, they are asking this. So, I want you to look at that. In TV, you say ad. What is this ad? With every wash of super rim, there is a tremendous brightening. Have you seen this ad?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, yes. Yes, sir.
Let us see the pattern of this graph. Okay?
Yes, sir.
This graph is like this, up, down, up, down. This is the way the ionization energy follows.
Yes, sir. Ionization energy graph.
In a period, you take, for example, hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium,
Radium.
boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, thallium, carbon,
Good morning, Jasim.